What is up, guys and girls? Hurricane Liz here, and I am finally back. Now, I know it seemed like I took a long break, but truth be told, sometimes when you get moving, you just can't get into your groove, and it took me a while to be able to even feel inspired to create more content, but the time is now. And on that topic, what we're going to talk about today is why I lost motivation, and it all really came down to my poor time management. So today we're going to talk about the winner's way to manage your time and the way that I've managed to get myself back on track. Now remember, I came up with this whole theory based on the tens and tens of thousands of dollars that I spent in personal development, as well as just experience overall being an entrepreneur. So if you're having trouble managing your time, or if you're having trouble getting fired up and learning something brand new, then I've got the video for you today. And I'm super fired up. I hope you are. Let's go and do this. All right, so what I'm going to be talking about today is a concept that a lot of people suck at, including myself at particular times. Now, while I know what the perfect way to manage your time is, sometimes I'm responsible of not doing that. And what we are talking about technically is if you want to become good or successful at anything, particularly building a business and or making a lot of money. But this also applies if you want to build a successful relationship or become a more skilled soccer player or even learn how to trade crypto or anything like that. It doesn't matter what it is, but this is the answer that you've been looking for if you are a poor manager of your time. And the very first concept that we have to understand is that there's actually 3 different ways that people manage time. The first is the average person. So we're going to talk about how the average person manages their time, as well as a very successful person who has potentially a successful business, a successful relationship, is successful at one skill or another. But overall, success is defined by that person. So for some people, success might be just having a good relationship. For others, success might be having a $100,000 a year salary. So altogether, success is dependent upon your definition of success. And then finally, the third category, which is a person that is trying to be successful at doing whatever it is that they want to do, yet keeps failing over and over and over again. And we're going to discuss why they are doing things wrong and how they can change what they're doing to achieve what they've always dreamed of, which is ultimately success based on their definition. All right, so the way we're going to look at this is we're going to start out by looking at my screen share here in a second, and we're going to relate time as being a pie. So we all have this pie or this time pie available to us each and every day. All right, so here is the time pie, and like I said before, I'm not an artist, I'm not an artiste, I'm not any of that crap, so please excuse my poor artistic abilities, but here is how we look at the time that we have available to us. We all spend at least 1/3 of our time sleeping. I think we can all agree that some of us spend 6 hours, some of us spend a lot less, depending on if we have a crazy night out or things of that nature. And some of us need a lot more, but in general, the majority of us keep 1/3 of our time involved with sleep. Now, if we're currently employed or we have a successful business or we are building a successful business, the other third of our time is spent working. Now, for most of corporate America, that is spent with 8 hours in a 9-to-5 job working for somebody else and making money for somebody else. And so technically 2/3 of our pie is taken up by sleep and work, which leaves us only 1/3 of our pie. Now, that other 1/3 of our pie is dependent upon us how we want to spend that pie. So, for example, some of us might spend that pie on just even getting ready for work, right? So getting ready for work, I'm just going to put GR here because if not, it's going to take up all the space, but that can be one sliver of this little pie of what is left over, getting ready for work. Now, in addition to that, you might be a die-hard workout person, so you might spend another sliver of that little leftover 8 hours working out, so that would go here. And a lot of people ask, like, all right, so what if I don't do that? What else can I do? Well, a good portion of the rest of this pie can be spent building relationships. So let's say you have a wife, or you have a husband, or you have a mistress, or a lover, or your dog, your cat, your children, whoever in the heck it is that you have there, your friends, your drinking buddies, you will want to build relationships with them. And obviously, it depends on how much time you want to spend with them. So relationships is here, another sliver. So all these go as like little slivers, and you can determine how much time per day you want to spend on that. Now, here's where we categorize or we differentiate the average person from the successful person. The average person will typically spend a good chunk of that pie doing extracurricular activities. Those extracurricular activities are in addition to their working out, or maybe they don't work out. And those extracurricular activities can consist of watching a shit ton of TV, or hanging out at the bar with their buddies and having drinks every single night for happy hour, because guess what? Drinks are on sale. So I've been guilty of that. In fact, this past week, I was very guilty of that and just doing a lot of extracurricular activities that did not relate to my number one business, or one of my top businesses, which in a sense, right now for me, it would be YouTube. So as you guys noticed, I was not putting out a lot of YouTube videos. I just wasn't feeling inspired. I wasn't feeling like doing much. So YouTube is part of my pie up here, which I didn't spend a lot of time doing. Now, in the case of a successful person that either is already working for someone or they're trying to build a business, a sliver of this pie will also be spent doing those things. So we would include a sliver of the pie for building another business. So if we're building another business, we would include this in this piece of the pie. Something else that people kind of tend to do is a lot of people spend a ton of time on personal development. So if we're trying to develop ourselves and get better at something, then we could put that as a development, right? So this pie, as you can see, is slowly shrinking down, and that additional 8 hours that we typically have is being taken up by all the activities that we do. But again, going back to the successful versus the average person, the successful person, the person trying to build a successful business, is going to take a large portion of this pie with that additional time, pouring that time into building their brand new business, while the average person is just going to do all sorts of extracurricular activities like screwing around. Now, a couple things to note here. There are successful people that take this work pie to a whole new level and they outsource the entire thing because they have the assets and they have the time, money, and resources to be able to teach somebody else to do their work for them. And that's what a lot of people do when they build rather large businesses, is they give the work to other people. Now, at the same time, you might say, well, Liz, me and my wife like to spend time watching TV. Then that would be pretty much acceptable as long as you and your wife didn't watch TV for like 10 hours a day or 6 hours a day. And even then, if you did it once a week, remember, you're still relationship building with your wife. If your wife is a Packers fan and she wants to watch the Packers game on TV, then it's perfectly fine that you do so, because at the end of the day, you're building that relationship with your wife by watching this game with her. Now, in the case if you do have a work pie or you're self-employed and you're using this work pie for building another business, so you start cutting into this chunk of work and this chunk gets bigger for business development, then just understand that if you don't have that work outsourced, that business will start to falter. In the case of my YouTube business, I have to be responsible for filming videos. So if I do not film videos, they can't get over to an editor, and at the same token, then I will stop making money there if I'm trying to build another business. And to be honest, that's exactly what I was doing this past week, is I'm trying to build another brand new business, which I will be talking about on this channel. And that business has me so excited. I'm so into the business that it's taken time for my YouTube videos and I've become less inspired to create them. So as a result, my YouTube business will take a hit this following month in terms of ad revenue because of the fact that I've been building that brand new business. So that does happen. Just understand that. And that's why it's important to try to still keep your primary source of income going when you're starting something brand new. So don't get lazy, do that. Don't be like me and just become a couch potato and just work on the brand new business and forget about the old one. Okay, now I want to talk about the person that is having trouble becoming successful. There's a very specific reason that happens, and that's because there's really two things that happen when you're not successful yet you're trying to become successful. The very first thing is that you have to learn the new skill or learn the new business or start the brand new business up. And so half of our time should theoretically be spent learning, and the other half should be spent taking action. And what that means is that we should implement the brand new skills that we're learning and make sure that we take action upon them and we do things. Now, the reason that most people fail at trying to become successful is because they make too much of the pie about learning because they're afraid to take action. So they'll often say things like, okay, well, I've learned YouTube ads and I know Facebook ads, but now I need to know Pinterest ads before I actually start this. Now, they'll think that they have to become an overall all-around marketer and learn every imaginable skill before they actually take action. And the reality is that that's very untrue. So what they should be doing is, instead of devoting about 80% of their time to learning and 20% to doing action, or even some do less, some do 100% learning and 0% action, what they should be is dividing that up to a lot less. So maybe week one, yes, is 80% learning and 20% action. And then second week is 70% learning, 30% action. And it keeps going down and down and down until action overtakes learning. And we're at about 70% action and 30% learning. And again, you want to continually learn no matter how skilled you are. If you continue to learn, then you don't get complacent, which at the end of the day helps you stay on top of things and it helps you stay on the top of your game. So if a person is having trouble becoming successful, this is more than likely why. They are spending a tremendous amount of their time learning as opposed to taking action, and it means you have to take a heck of a lot more action than learn. Don't get stuck over learning and over analyzing and overthinking and never taking action and then not having a successful business and blaming it on the business itself. I see this time and time again where somebody's like, oh, I tried to learn how to buy and sell stocks, but it just didn't work out for me. It just doesn't work. I don't see how it works for anybody. It's a ripoff. And the reality is it does work. You just didn't spend enough time trying to take action on it. And stocks is probably a bad choice because it is gambling and a lot of people cannot control their emotions with gambling. But a perfect example would be somebody trying to start an SEO agency. There's plenty of successful SEO agencies. It's not magic. It just takes time, energy, and effort, and the ability to be able to take more action than learn. And that's pretty much it. That's my concept on time management. That's what I've learned from going through dozens and dozens of personal development courses. And this is what always keeps me on track. Just understanding where I'm at, understanding where I've gone wrong, and understanding where I need to improve. Now, there's a lot of little subsections of this that we can discuss in future videos. Just let me know your interest below. I can tell you how to be able to manage this and how to be able to make sure that your current business starts running in theory before you become a couch potato like me. And so I can definitely talk about that if you guys want. Just let me know in the comments below. But other than that, let me know your questions and I will be more than happy to answer them. And I'll see you guys in the next video.